You know the Magna culture, right? Nobody works for me. You people work with me. I'm working for you. The history of mankind has always been dominated by the golden rule. Here's the gold makes the rule. But I don't want to be dominated by anyone. If I feel that strong, I should not be able to dominate somebody either.
Hello, my name's Jurgen Hebel, and we're here today about the New Wave Common Sense Business Association. And I'm so pleased to introduce our guest, Mars Callahan, well-known cult classic, famous writer, director, and actor. Mars, thank you for coming all the way up from Las Vegas.
Thanks for having me, Jurgen.
Maybe tell us a little bit why you came up.
Well, I had the honor and the privilege of meeting Mr. Frank Stronach. And obviously I had heard of him, but after doing research on who he is as a man and what he has accomplished in his life, I thought, wow, what an amazing story. He's 93 years old. He's probably in the fourth quarter of his life. And looking back at what he's done, created the largest automobile manufacturing company, 180,000 employees, factories in 30 plus countries, but more importantly, creating an environment in his business and in the industry where he really took care of his workforce. He treated them like family. I saw an interview or documentary with him where he said, none of you work for me, you all work with me. In fact, I work for you. And when the workforce of any business feels proprietary about the time they spend in their life. People don't realize time is our most precious commodity. It's not the dollars and cents, it's time. People always talk about ROI, but I always talk about ROT, return on time. And when you're going to spend the hours of your lifetime working on something, engaged in what hopefully you feel is a worthy cause, when you feel like that's your company too, then your heart and your soul is in the time that you put into, the care that you put into manufacturing, sales, distribution, marketing, all of the logistics surrounding any business. There are human beings involved. There's not robots yet. They're coming, and there's some, but there's human beings there, and those human beings have a heart and a soul, and they care about their life's work. And what Mr. Stronach created was a culture in that workplace, in that environment, where people could feel like, you know what, I own a piece of this company too. And that car that's driving, that car is moving around this earth because I helped cause it to move. And that family that takes those kids to school or buy their groceries or keep them out of the rain, that car is doing those things because I had an impact in delivering that product to those people.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And something else, part of the New Wave Common Sense Business Association is we're building our principles from the Canadian Economic Charter of Rights and Responsibilities. The listeners can tune into economiccharter.ca. But one of our principles is the right to food. And I know that's a very big issue for all of us in the US and Canada, but I know it's very dear to your heart.
Most certainly. Yeah, I was most people that know my story, I was in a wheelchair for 11 years. I was given 2 weeks to live. I had a very rare neuroendocrine tumor, and no physician ever told me that I had a chance to live longer than 2 weeks. And they told me that when I was 28 years old. So what most people don't realize is you have a phrase now that people are starting to say, food is medicine, but food is also poison. So if you're putting in the United States, there's a new energy coming into the creation or the elimination of yellow and red and blue dyes in our food, the toxic pesticides and things that are poisoning the American people, and there are certain biochemical agents that are banned in Europe that we use freely in the United States. So
it's incredible, isn't it? It's 95% of our food is made on industrialized farms with chemicals, when really we should be eating good organic food.
Yes, and that's exactly right. And again, when I was able to be fortunate enough to meet with Mr. Stronach, he's also pioneering organic farming, and his innovations in the way his approach to bringing quality food. And people don't realize that food is going to be skyrocketing, much like gasoline has increased in price, much like water is now oftentimes more expensive than gasoline. Food is we're going to find in the next few years that food is going to be, and quality food is going to be less and less prevalent and more scarce. So making sure that people understand or know how to grow their own food or what is in the food that they eat, so educating them and then teaching them. It's basis of all of why I'm here. I didn't quite finish answering the question why I'm here. When I met Mr. Stronach, I realized that one of my favorite films was The Aviator, with Leonardo DiCaprio, directed by Martin Scorsese. And it was a film about the life of Howard Hughes and the impact that he made on the world. And I thought to myself, this is a man, but this was made after Howard Hughes was long gone. He had long since passed. In this particular case, I am so blessed and so fortunate to be able to spend time with Frank Stronach, who is a living legend. He's a man who's still alive, who can tell the stories of his life. He can share with me the different nuances of what his thought process was that made it so different, what made his approach to business and humanity so different. And now it's my honor that I'll be able to make a feature film about his life.
So you're going to be coming to Canada a lot now.
I'll be spending a bit more time up here in Toronto. I'm waiting for the snow to thaw out just a little bit, but yeah, no, I'm very excited to have the Frank Stronach story be my next feature film that I'll be making.
Mars, thanks. I'm very excited and very glad that you survived your illness and that you've got the chutzpah and energy to continue making wonderful productions and legislation in the US and it's just going to grow for you in your future. And I'm glad to be with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jurgen. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That's us, the New Wave Common Sense Business Association.
I think we should change it to Rare Sense, but I'll put that petition in later.
We put a petition in, legislative petition, to change common sense to rare sense.
Correct.
Thank you, Mars.
Thank you, brother. Yeah.
Thank you.